Hello guys, welcome to my channel.
Well, welcome to Folsom Pioneer Village. The purpose and the mission of us as docents here at Pioneer Village is to give visitors such as yourself a little bit of introduction into the California Gold Rush during the 1850s.
Wow.
When gold was really just starting to be talked about worldwide.
Wow.
You could sit up here on Sutter Street
Okay.
and you could see clothing from all over the world, and you could probably hear just about any foreign language that you can imagine. At the height of the gold rush period, there were actually 4 railroads based here in Folsom. We even still have the turntable, which is located out by our amphitheater.
Wow.
That particular turntable would line up rail cars to go to Placerville, Sacramento, over to Loomis and Rockland, and then on over toward Auburn. And at the height, the real height of the gold rush, if you arrived by ship in San Francisco, you could thank your lucky stars that you arrived and you safely by a ship voyage. But you still had to come inland here to Folsom to really get into the heart of the gold rush area.
Wow.
During the war between the states, the Northern Army, the Army of Abraham Lincoln, over 60% of the financing that they needed came right from here, the foothills of early California. So the gold is still here. The difference being is that instead of mining for surface gold on streams or maybe some pockets being dug into the ground, the real gold now is being extracted from pits or from tunnels.
Wow.
But the gold is still here. Make no doubt of that. So as you walk through Pioneer Village, you'll see our old railroad warehouse that originally in 1870 was over on the other side of the American River, about 1.5 miles from there. And when that particular rail arm closed down, then the City Fathers and the Folsom Historic Society transferred the rail terminal warehouse over here.
Wow.
So we now use it as a teaching location, and during the winter it's awfully nice to be able to be inside.
Wow.
But the building itself, again, was originally right from the early 1880s, 1870s, and at one time was thought to be the most used active rail terminal west of the Mississippi River. So there's been a lot of history here, and that's the Ashland building. Then we have a miner's cabin out and back to show you what a small family, perhaps a family of 2 or maybe with a small child, would have lived in. And we have our own dredge office. The dredge building itself came from the Natoma Land and Water Company, and they were very big here not only for water that was going to the individual mining sites, but also the dredge program itself, which was a huge way to extract gold from the earth. And dredging now is illegal because of the damage that it created in California, the same as placer mining using the large, high volume hose velocities. So we use this area here as a demonstration purpose.
Wow.
We keep the blacksmith going here because blacksmithing has been around since the time of the Phoenicians. And honestly, in the 1800s, if you were living in a town that didn't have a blacksmith, you probably weren't living in much of a town at all. So blacksmithing is very important. And blacksmith could be able to take care of a lot of things, a lot of needs for business, but also for private enterprise. So having a blacksmith in town, that was a very important aspect. And and in many instances it was passed from father to son, sometimes even from grandfather through son to grandson. So blacksmithing is a very important industry. This particular location here is used as a training center for the California Blacksmith Association. Their codes of conduct, the way that they conduct blacksmithing, and how they train, that particular code is used throughout Great Britain and now throughout Europe. So we're very proud of our California Blacksmith Association because it is a true upstanding example of the blacksmithing industry.
Wow.
We have gold panning troughs here. You see people are gold panning.
Wow.
And we do not use real gold. It would cost us a small fortune. We use iron pyrite.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
It's kind of hard to remember, to visualize, is when most of this was going on around the late 1840s, early 1850s, gold was $16, that's 1/6 an ounce. So it was a long time before it stabilized where the government sat on it at $35 an ounce. And that artificial boundary actually impeded a lot of the gold mines in this because, for example, the Empire Mine in Nebraska, are you ladies from this area?
Well, I live in Carroll.
Okay, so you know about
South Carolina.
We still love you. I mean, South Carolina. But the Empire Mine State Park in Grass Valley, that mine ran from 1851 to 1955. The reason it closed down was the miners went on a big strike. Okay, we want more money, better benefits, whatever. Mining company said, well, here's the deal. We can't sell our product for more than $35 an ounce. Okay, the government, it costs us more than $35. They're scrapping gold.
How do they do that?
We give you guys a raise, whatever. You can't afford it.
How did you get your wagon? Yeah, you did it. You
No,
did it.
no, sometimes we have.
Or they just mentioned it, yeah.
Well, when
They
they
say there's as much gold left there as we have already extracted.
Oh, they just lowered it down.
each wagon and each cow. It's kind of, what? How will they get the cow wagon over it or back there?
They rope on the front and back and lowered it down.
Yeah. Well, it was quite something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yes. Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Thank you. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Have you picked pans of gold?
Thank you for stopping.
Pans of gold.
That way out.
Yeah. This was, they found it in
Our enormous volunteer salaries is by the number.
it's like a mill up in Oklahoma. Okay.
Okay, here's the real
So
deal.
they were building this mill, and it has a tail race. That's the thing that goes underneath to make the paddle wheel move.
Okay.
And power the sawmill, saw blade. And they didn't have enough power. So they said, oh, we got to dig out the tail race to make it big.
Hold in your teeth,
So
you know. like,
overnight they let the water go through the mill, and then in the morning they blocked it off and they
came out of the
dumped
Yuba River.
out all the water. And then they started digging and they went, oh,
You know
what's
that
this
Mother
shiny
Nature's
stuff?
still doing it.
Wow.
There's a little piece. Sure.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Oh, wow. Oh, this one? Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
You can have it.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
What's our baggie?
Thank you so much. Is it free?
Not real.
But I like it.
Very forward
I love
There you
it.
go.
Thank you so much.
for Mother Nature to erode this.
So this is surface canning.
Yeah, mastermind.
Or if we use hard rock, like we're going to dig down in it.
This is the sawmill. They were up at Coloma. If you go up to Coloma,
Uh-huh.
that's the sawmill. And this is a replica of it.
Uh-uh.
And this is what it looks like.
Okay.
And then this is the paddle wheel underneath.
Oh
See
wow.
that makes the power.
I,
We don't have engines in that thing.
wow.
And so this is what it looks like with water in the tail race. This is the part that went under the mill, and the water would rush through there and make the paddle wheel go over and make the saws work. That was what they had to dig out deeper
Wow.
because it didn't have enough power, and so that's where they found the gold.
Wow.
So they did a whole bunch of tests on it, and yahoo! Yeah, it's really gold.
Wow.
In the newspaper and sent it back to New York. And then from there, it went. The next year, then was the gold rush in 1840.
Wow.
Now,
Okay.
this is melted snow. So if you're a miner, you're standing in melted snow for 8 or 10 or 12 hours a day, bent over doing this.
Wow.
That's way too hard.
Yeah, I know.
So they had to get more efficient. So if you come over here, I'll show you what they did next.
Okay.
So,
So that was really hard work. So this is what they did next.
Okay.
So this is called a rocker. So you can shovel your gold-bearing rock on there, pour water on it, shake it back and forth. Gold is heavy, so it sinks to the bottom and it gets caught on those ripples there. And so that was more efficient than standing in the water.
Wow.
And so then they got more efficient and they went, these things are called sluice boxes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that you can different ways to use sluice boxes and do more quantity so they can get that.
Wow.
So then they went to hydraulic mining. That's over here.
Okay.
This is called a monitor. It's like a squirt gun.
Okay.
So they have the water really high up and they put it into smaller and smaller pipes. So by the time it comes out of here, it just kind of blasts. So that's what it does.
Oh.
Look at the mountain. It just
Oh,
literally
I
washes
see.
the mountain down.
Oh, wow.
And then all that sludge, the rock and the dirt goes in those sluice boxes. And then they wash the water through it, and then the gold gets caught on those ripples that are between it.
Wow.
But the problem with that is what they didn't need, all the mud and the rocks that they didn't need, go in the river. And it started filling up the river, and it started flooding the farmland in Sacramento. And the farmers didn't like that. It was ruining their crops. But they didn't want the miners to stop because that's who they sold their things to.
Okay.
So they started building up the banks of the river, water in the river and not on their land. That's why we have levees in Sacramento.
Wow.
Because of this monster.
Oh.
Then in 1888, it flooded Marysville and Yuba City, and it killed a bunch of people.
Oh.
And so they passed a law in 1888 not to do, they couldn't do hydraulic mining.
I
anymore.
see. Okay.
So that was our first environmental law in 1888.
Wow.
They won't let them do that anymore.
Wow.
This is our train station. It's the oldest train station left west of the Mississippi. So it was over here on the corner of Greenback Lane and Auburn Folsom across the river, across the bridge. There's a little shopping center there now. That used to be the town of Ashland.
Oh,
Because there
wow.
were 4 trains.
We
that
should
came-
go there after here.
It used to be over there. So Greenback Lane goes that way. There's two roads. There's a high one and a low one.
Okay.
The high one was where the train tracks used to be.
Oh, okay.
So when you're going that way on Greenback Lane, you're on the train tracks.
Okay.
So they did dredging next.
Okay.
This is what happened next. So they couldn't do that anymore. So they had to find something more efficient.
Okay.
So this was a dredge. It's like a barge.
Mm-mm.
So this, you see that there? That's that.
Oh, wow. Which one?
That one of
That
those
one?
is one of those.
Oh, wow. Mm. Wow.
And this bucket right here, that's one of those.
Wow.
So there's like 20 of them. So they take dynamite and they loosen the soil with that. Then the buckets scoop up the soil and then they crush it inside. They have big rock crushers then they pour chemicals all over it, they extract the gold, and then everything they don't need, that's the tailings that come out the back of the dredge.
Oh,
So
wow.
as you drive down Malvern Folsom Road, you see big piles of rocks. Those are all the tailings.
Oh, really?
Right.
Oh, wow.
Hello. And so this is our dredge shack. This is where they come up and have lunch. So this
Oh,
is-
wow.
it's on skids,
Oh.
so they can move it down the side of the bank
Uh-oh.
when they come off of the dredge.
Oh, wow.
And you can look at the pictures there on the door.
Uh-oh.
The bottom one, this is the tailings, and this is Aerojet over here. So it's right along the American River. So they actually went through these piles 3 times.
Okay.
They got more efficient at getting the gold out.
Wow.
But in the 1960s, the price of gold was like $35 an ounce,
Wow.
and they couldn't make a living at it, so they just stopped.
Oh.
Not that there wasn't still gold there, they
Uh-oh.
just couldn't afford to do that.
Wow.
Because we were on the gold standard then, and the price of gold was, it never changed.
Okay.
So this went 22 hours a day, 2 hours off for maintenance.
Wow.
It was so noisy,
Uh-uh.
you couldn't hear to call on the phone. So this is their padded telephone booth.
Oh.
And the children don't know what that thing inside is. Right. That's their padded telephone booth.
Mm.
This is their powder magazine.
Okay.
This is where they keep the dynamite. It's cement building, so if it
Uh-oh.
blows up, it's not going to be quite so dangerous.
Wow. I see.
And here's our caboose. We don't have any more cabooses anymore.
Oh.
So this was donated in the 70s. It was built in 1941.
Okay.
And the conductor and the brakeman, they would be in the caboose. So the brakeman, he's up there in the top,
Okay.
and he's watching the track to make sure there's no landslides or rocks or animals on the
Wow.
track.
Wow.
And he was also looking for smoke.
Oh.
Because each wheel has a brake on it,
Uh-uh.
and if they overheat, then they can catch the train on fire. So he has to
Oh.
watch for smoke. So it's an important job.
Mhm.
And the conductor, he's usually doing paperwork.
Wow. And what is that, by the way?
That's a road grader.
Oh.
So it would be pulled by horses or later on a truck.
Oh, okay.
Grade the roads, because the roads are mostly dirt, gravel. We didn't have nice roads like we do. So this is our miner's shack. Somebody lived in it until 1920.
Oh, really?
Huh?
Wow.
So it's on skids.
Okay.
So if your crane petered out, you didn't want to let it stay there anymore, you just put some mules on the front, drag it off. Mini houses are back in fashion.
Oh, wow.
So you can look inside. Go inside.
Oh my gosh.
So there's our
Oh,
little house.
wow. Oh my gosh.
Okay. So pioneers, they had 2 outfits basically. One
Okay.
they would wear all week, and then the one they would put on for Sunday best.
Okay.
So they didn't just throw their clothes away when they were worn out.
Okay.
They would take out the good pieces, sew them together, and make quilts out of them. So the one on the bed there, the quilt block in the middle, not the polka dot, but the others are over 100 years old. Yeah.
My goodness.
Underneath the quilt is the feather tick. And that one's under 100 years old also.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they just fill it with whenever they have a chicken or something, they save the feathers and
Uh-oh.
put the feathers inside. It's called feather tick.
Wow. My gosh. And there's a guitar.
So behind you that's the baby cradle.
Oh, this one?
The baby cradle. It's an it's a rocker that they would use for gold mining.
Oh, wow.
Purposed it for a baby cradle.
Uh-oh.
So that's an otter skin blanket because we have river otters here in Sacramento.
Oh.
So fur is very warm. So you notice there's not much insulation in this house.
Wow.
And that's the stand where the dad could shave. That's where he would shave.
This one.
And the strap is where you sharpen your blade.
Oh wow.
So I grew up, I ironed all of our pillowcases, my dad's handkerchiefs.
That was fabric.
That's why they iron the sheets.
So that's literature.
People are crazy.
Which
They iron
one?
the sheets,
Both
but
ones
it's-
with the sticks
Oh,
out.
okay.
Well, both. Both.
And then you go-
I'm like, I would not care that much
Cooking,
about
whatever.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm probably talking about.
Wow.
And where's the bathroom?
Where's the bathroom?
Yeah, that's.
I don't know.
It's outside. It's
It's
an outhouse.
oh okay.
So
It's
there's no bathroom.
oh I see. Okay. Wow.
That's only for the workers to use.
No, I left until you went in and I saw the glimpse.
There's Talia. She's a teacher. She needs to start saddling.
That's a meat grinder.
Oh, this one?
One with the handle.
Oh,
That's just a skillet. Right,
okay.
the one that's clamped on the side. Yeah, that's a meat grinder. So you just put your meat in there, and they can't put her out of it.
Oh wow.
Grind your meat.
That's Amish or it's Pennsylvania.
Because a lot of game is kind of tough.
Mm-mm.
And so if you grind it up, so easy.
Wow. I love this house.
So there's our bathroom. There's the outhouse.
Is that the bathroom?
That's the bathroom.
Wow.
So if it has a moon on the door, it's for women. If it
Oh really?
If it has a star or a sunburst, it's for men.
Wow.
But the men didn't take very good care of their outhouses and they fell into disrepair.
Oh.
So you only see the moons.
Wow.
So I don't know if you've ever heard of the Studebaker Car Company.
No.
Okay, they were back in the 60s. There were cars called Studebaker. But these are Studebakers, these two wagons.
Okay.
Because Mr. Studebaker came out here in 1853 and he was a wheelwright. That meant he knew how to build the wheels on that. It took a
Wow.
lot of skill to do that. So he made wheelbarrows and he sold them to miners because they were
Oh.
hauling rocks around.
Okay.
They needed wheelbarrows. Then he made wagons and carriages and made a fortune. Then he took his family and his fortune and went back east. And later, the family started the Studebaker Car Company.
Wow.
They actually went until the 1960s when Chrysler bought them out.
Wow.
Still talking.
So he became the alcalde, which is a Mexican term, because we had been under the Mexican government, until, the Mexican-American War was founded. So anyway, he was at several things. He was like a commissioner of deeds. He was like a justice of the peace. She can, yeah. Yeah, so if she takes you through, it's okay. I can't stand with her while I'm talking.
Okay.
Thank you. So anyway, he came here and he's making a lot of money doing all of these things for people. Now, he's not like the justice of the peace to become a sheriff, but he's administering, he's meting out the justice to people. So he's making a lot of money. He made a lot of friends because he's a very good-looking, personable guy. Well, when he finally made enough fortune, he went to Yerba Buena, San Francisco. He bought this beautiful paisley shawl from Scotland. He bought these clothes that were carved out of ivory that were imported. Now, San Francisco is a big port of trade from back then. And he took these items and he sailed around, went to Pennsylvania, and his family, her family's like, of course you can marry our daughter. You've done quite well for yourself. So they get married in Pennsylvania, they hop on a ship, and instead of going around the Horn, they come across the Isthmus of Nicaragua. There's no Panama Canal at that point. So they're going through the jungles, about 30 miles of jungle.
Oh my God.
Guess what happens? They die. He got sick. He got bit by something. They just called it miasma of Nicaragua, which miasma, they don't know what it was. It's probably like yellow fever or malaria, yeah. So by the time they get to Yerba Buena, he's died. And what happens to a lot of young brides on their honeymoon back in the day? She was pregnant. So she gets to San Francisco. She can't, there's no telegraph back then. She can't let her parents know quickly. I'm here in California, which isn't quite a state yet. I'm pregnant. My husband's dead. I don't know anybody. Well, his friends at Mormon Island heard about what was happening, and they put this caravan together, and they went and they got her from San Francisco to Yerba Buena. They brought her back, and they set her up in a tent at Haxel Ranch, which is now underneath Folsom Lake. Well, it's actually not under Folsom Lake right now because Folsom Lake is dry. But so under Folsom Lake, it used to be the old mining town of Mormon Island. It was the second gold strike in California. And so Haxel felt that the real gold was agriculture. So instead of panning for gold, he started putting in crops. So he had this beautiful grape orchard. Well, after she had her daughter Ella, she went to work teaching school. So they think that's the first school in this whole area was under Folsom Lake, at Mormon Island, at Haxel Ranch in a grape vineyard, and just teaching out in a tent. Anyway, she was a beautiful young woman. She didn't want to stay a widow for long. She married with him.
Several years following the completion of the railroad from Sacramento to Folsom in 1856, Folsom became a transportation hub, and as many as 20 stagecoaches and freight wagons would meet the train hub its arrival in Folsom. guys, thank you for watching. Please like this video. Don't forget to click the like below. Subscribe.